Hello, welcome to Conversations with Sophia4Christ. I'm so happy that you are here. Now, the mission of this platform is to share content that enlightens and empowers you to go forth and fulfill your divine purpose and be your best in every area of your life. Welcome. So, today, for this conversation, we're going to discuss a very important topic, and it's a continuation of our Man and Woman series, understanding conflict resolution styles. And we know disagreements are inevitable, but we have to learn how to de-escalate situations. As we say in Jamaica, we don't want to push fire stick and cause things to blaze out of control. And we can even see, not just in Jamaica, but across the world, how not being able to manage disagreements can emerge into these wild, raging situations. And it all starts from the home and it spills out into how well we manage conflict outside of our homes. So we're going to discuss conflict resolution styles and how best to de-escalate situations and maintain the peace and well-being of everyone involved. And we have a very special guest. I'm going to bring her in just now so that you can see her. Give me a moment. There we go. Hey, so we have Lady Cristal Clayton Wallace, and I'm going to introduce her. So, Lady Cristal is the founder of the I Am Her Collective and a mother, wife, educator, and missionary. The I Am Her Collective was founded in 2021, exactly 1 year after her sister and nephew were murdered by her sister's partner and the child's father. Lady Cristal created the I Am Her Collective in response to the lack of information available to ordinary citizens about the resources available to victims of domestic violence. The I Am Her Collective is dedicated to educating, empowering, and advocating for domestic violence victims. Lady Cristal is passionate about issues of injustice and oppression. Her goal is to inspire others to speak up for those who have not yet found their voice. Welcome, Lady Cristal. Please just say hello to everyone.
Hey everybody, as always, it is a pleasure to be here. I'm excited about this topic and what we'll get into. And hopefully somebody will leave this conversation saying, I've learned something. I need to probably examine what type of conflict resolution style I have. So good to be here and always a blessing.
Thank you. So, just a few housekeeping matters for everyone concerned. So, everything we discuss is for informational purposes only. If you need relationship, marriage, or even just family counseling, kindly make such arrangements. And we will also have a brief Q&A session at the end, time permitting, so you can hold your questions until then. So now we're moving quite quickly today. Now we're going to ask Lady Cristal to go ahead and let's see if we can get into the presentation.
All right, so I'm going to share my screen at this time. So just please let me know when you are able to see it.
Let me go into the layout. So,
All
well,
right.
on my end, it's not, no, it hasn't come up yet. Hmm.
All right. So I am sharing. Can you see it?
It's not. I don't know. This is kind of everyone bear with us because I have to be on my phone because my laptop crashed due to Windows issues. So therein lies a problem.
All right. So I'm gonna check on YouTube to see if the presentation is showing.
I
All
don't know
right.
if it should be seeing here. People in the comments, come on now, you need to help us. Are you seeing like a screen share happening?
So I'm looking on YouTube. The screen is not being shown. So
Yeah, I figured it wasn't. So it looks like you may just have to.
yes, I'm just gonna have to go at it. All right. So Hi,
As long as you
everybody.
can see it.
Pardon?
As long as you can see it, that's the
Yeah, man,
greatest thing.
I can. I can. So,
Okay.
it is an amazing opportunity to be with you this Saturday. I hope you are all enjoying your Saturday. And we're going to be talking today about conflict resolution styles. Because if we're going to have healthy relationships, we need to know how each person resolves conflict and what we can do to cause things to de escalate. All right. So, the first thing that I want to make aware is what is conflict? We need to be able to identify what conflict is, know when we're in it, and how we can resolve it. So, the first thing I want to say is that conflict is real and conflict is a necessary part of every relationship. And conflict doesn't necessarily mean that it is bad, right? So, the dictionary definition is conflict is a situation in which two or more parties are in opposition, which in turn results in tension and discord among the parties. Now, this opposition comes from differing perspectives that result from differing priorities, values, education, experience, and personalities. In any particular situation, there can be as many different perspectives as there are people. So there are no two people that are the same, and therefore that will always present an opportunity for there to be conflict. And so as long as we are alive and we're in this world, conflict will be seen, right? And not all conflict is unhealthy. And we will see that as we go into the presentation. So, what is conflict resolution? So, we know that there's conflict, and we know that it's not all bad, but at the same point, what is conflict resolution? How do we resolve conflict without one person feeling like, um, it didn't work out in my favor and I always have to take the lose? How can we resolve conflict in a way that both people achieve what we call a win-win situation? All right, or maybe a partial lose-lose. We'll get into it. So, conflict resolution is a formal or an informal process that two or more parties use to as a kind of peaceful resolution for their dispute. And why is conflict resolution important? Now, as I said before, conflict is not always bad, but conflict resolution is important because it helps to bring people together once an issue is put to rest. So the issue that caused the conflict has to be put to rest first, and then the people can come together. Now they can have a mutual understanding, right? One of the most important elements in conflict resolution is choosing to tackle the problem as a team rather than attacking each other. That is very important. It is one of the most important elements, as was said. You have to decide to tackle the problem, whatever the issue is that caused there to be discord between the two parties. We should be able to tackle the problem and not each other. All right? So that is why conflict resolution is important. So imagine that you are in conflict with maybe a coworker about something. Maybe it's a staple machine, or who gets to I get maybe somebody pick up your coffee cup out of the pantry, and there's a conflict about it. Now you can decide to either cut off your coworker, or you could try to understand why it is that they removed your coffee mug or so on. Let's tackle the problem and not each other. So that is the basic ethos that we want to focus on: tackling the problem as a team and not each other. I am not your opponent. You are not my opponent. But us together can figure out how to solve this issue that we are having. Now, there are 5 main conflict resolution styles. Um, and you have the competing style, which can take 2 forms. It can be in the form of direct aggression, which we have a lot in our society, or it can be passive aggression, which we have a lot of that too, but we need to know how to identify it. So the competing style is a win-lose situation. So I win, you lose, right? Um, as it regards to the passive, the second conflict resolution style that I want to mention is avoiding. So the avoiding conflict resolution style is usually a temporary style of conflict resolution. It should not be used continuously. This is a lose-lose resolution style. So when we avoid the conflict altogether, we know that there's an issue, there's tension, but we're gonna look the other way. Both of us are going to look the other way. We're not going to talk
Yeah,
about.
but sometimes we say that let peace reign and stuff like that. But some of the things you just need to deal with it. But yeah,
True,
it's
yes,
true.
we can allow peace to reign, but as we say, you cannot always avoid the issue.
True.
Sometimes you have to calm down and let us approach addressing the issue and not attacking each other. And that is the difference. To be able to identify that, yes, we have an issue here, but you are fundamentally not my problem. The
True.
problem might be how you are thinking about the situation, but I'm not going to attack you. I want us to focus on resolving the issue here. So the third conflict resolution style that we're going to look at today is the accommodating style. It is the I lose, you win style. So, whatever you decide, I'll just go along with it. I don't want to cause no problems. I'm not going to assert myself. I'm going to allow you to take the lead. Now, this can work in some situations, but it's not always um, good to do because it can cause a lot of resentment. All right, so we also have the fourth conflict resolution style being the compromising style, which we hear a lot about in marriage counseling. Why not compromise? Why not compromise? And basically, what they're saying is, why not partially lose? Because both party will partially lose. Um, because compromising is a partial lose-lose. So you are coming to a mutual understanding while losing what you would have wanted to accomplish in the first place. All right. So we have the fifth conflict resolution style being the collaborating style, which is the one I love, but it is not always what you call it now. It is not always the most accessible style. It is the win-win style. It's the one where both parties plan what they're going to do, and so when the activities are being executed, both feel a sense like what I want is being accomplished, right? Because they have planned it together. This is not always accessible, as I say. There are going to be situations where you will have to make a decision fast, quick, and in a hurry, and that would be more of the competing style where I win and somebody else lose. All right. So if you were able to see my screen, I have a picture up of a boxing, two people boxing. So and this illustrates the competing style, because in a boxing match we know that there can be only one heavyweight champion. only one person is going to leave the ring with a win. And so in the competing style, those who compete are usually the ones who are assertive and uncooperative and willing to pursue their own concerns at the other person's expense. It sounds bad, but we see a lot of that happening in relationships where I want what I want, and if you don't want what I want, I am still going to get what I want. And it is said that using this style works when you don't really care about the relationship, but the outcome is important, such as when you're competing with another company for a new client. So this works for people who are in business, but not for people who are in romantic relationships. Because if you are going to make a decision that is detrimental to your relationship, then we have a problem. Because the other person is going to feel as though, I don't matter in this relationship because this person is going to do whatever they want anyway. So that's the competing style. So whenever you think about the competing style, just think about two people in a ring boxing. One person has to come out as winner. Both persons can't win. So the avoiding style, if I'm just gonna describe the picture that I have up for this. Have you ever seen those emojis with a monkey not see nothing, monkey not hear nothing, monkey not saying anything either? That is literally the image I have up with the eyes covered, the ears covered, and the mouth covered. So the avoiding style is, as I said before, um, those who tend to avoid conflict are not assertive, and they're also not cooperative because I don't want to put myself out there. I don't want to cooperate with you, so I'm going to avoid this whole thing altogether. You know, while they diplomatically sidestep the issue and simply withdraw from the threatening situation. So they see danger over there, so they're going in the opposite direction. I'm not going in the direction of danger. Um, it is best to use this style when it is safer to postpone dealing with the situation. For example, if you're dealing with somebody and they're enraged, and you know that the best thing to de-escalate such a situation is to remove yourself to safety so that your life is not in danger. And then when they have cooled down, or there are other people in the environment that can what you call it no pacify the person, then you can approach saying what it is, dealing with the actual issue. And this is where mediation is important, because there are sometimes when we cannot take on the issue right now, but we're going to reapproach the issue. We're going to get somebody in between us so that, they can help us to work it through so we can understand what is happening. That's where counseling comes in, and having a counselor present when you want to broach certain topics so that it don't get explosive. Because, we don't want to have to call the fire department because somebody's anger exploded, right? So the avoiding style is only for temporary use. No one can be in a successful relationship and they avoid talking about everything in the relationship that is a problem. It means then that both persons are not growing. It means that the relationship is not maturing if you cannot talk about the issues. All right, so we have the accommodating style. And the image that I have for this one is basically somebody questioning, should I terminate or should I accommodate? Should I end this, or should I just let this person have their way? But how much of this person having their way will I be able to tolerate without getting resentful, without feeling like, it's unfair? I never get to say what's on my mind. I never get to share my opinion. Um, it's that constantly being in a space of self sacrifice. And how much of that can somebody take to feel as though they're being dominated constantly? So, with the accommodating style, it is the opposite of the competing style. It is where the person says, just the way you want, though. I'll just work with whatever you doing. 'Cause I'll take the lose and you take the win. It's that element of self-sacrifice to satisfy the other person's desire or needs. Now, while it may seem like a generous thing to do, it could take advantage of the weak, and it could also cause resentment. Now, you can use the accommodating style when you really don't care. Like, for example, you're ordering food and you don't care if you want KFC or pizza or Seven Crave or whatever. You just say, just order something, because it doesn't really matter to me what we're going to eat right now. I just know that I feel a little peckish. It could be Chinese food, it could be pizza, it could be anything. Just order something. In that case where you don't really care about the outcome of what that result is going to be at the end of the day, um and that could essentially and you want to what do you call it, what's the word, preserve and build the relationship. So you say, all right, I take the lose now. I hear you. I might not completely agree, but I will agree to disagree. And I just take the L for this one. That happens sometimes, and that has to happen sometimes in marriage and in romantic relationships, and even in parent-child relationships right across the board. You find that sometimes you have to take the L and allow the other person to win. So that's the accommodating style. So as we go through the styles, I want you to be thinking about what style you normally resort to, because of our socialization and how we have been brought up, we genuinely or we lean to one particular style majority of the time, because that's how we were able to survive or environment as children. All right, so we have the compromising style, right? This style aims to find an expedient, mutually acceptable solution that partially satisfies both parties in the conflict while maintaining some assertiveness and cooperativeness. No, so the image I have for this one is a checkbox, three check boxes, and you have my way at the top, your way in the second line, and the third line says negotiate. And definitely in the compromising style, a lot of negotiation happens. And we come to something that is mutually acceptable for both people. And, we can go with this. I don't mind not having things my way, since I'm going to get part of what I want anyway, right? So this style is best used when the outcome is not crucial and you are losing time. For example, when you want to just make a decision and move on to more important things and are willing to give a little to get a little, just to make the decision work. However, be aware that no one is really satisfied. So even though we're compromising that thing that you wanted to accomplish, you are not satisfied in it because you did not entirely get your way. All right, so we have the collaborating style, and that's the final style that we'll look at, but we can talk more afterwards. So the collaborating style basically is where we decide that we are going to take these problems that we're having and we're going to attack the problem as a team. So imagine you and your relationship partner huddled in one of those team positions. If you watch those sport movies where the team huddles and boost each other up before they go out onto the field, that is what collaborating is. You come together, you huddle, and you say, we have this problem. All right? My problem is not with you, but this is a problem that exists in the relationship. How can we come together and find solutions to deal with this problem that exists in our relationship? Right? So it's a combination of being assertive and cooperative. Those who collaborate attempt to work with others to identify a solution that fully satisfies everyone's concern. In this style, which is opposite to the avoiding style, both can get what they want and negative feelings are minimized. Collaborating works best when the long term relationship and outcomes are important. For example, if you're planning for integrating two departments into one, or if we're planning to buy a house and we need to decide on how the NHT something are gonna go, how the points are gonna get used, we will both mutually benefit from having our own home. And so we can collaborate and decide, are we going to go to VMBS for a mortgage, or are we going to Sagicor, or are we going to go to NCB for the mortgage? We can decide on that based on the fact that we are collaborating, we have a common goal, and we want to get this done without hurting the other person's feelings, without the other person feeling like they've been rolled over by a steam train and they just have to retreat and go treat their wounds somewhere away from the relationship. So the image that I have for this one is a synchronized swimming team. Anybody like synchronized swimming? I love it. I love watching it during Olympics. I love how coordinated they are.
Cute.
Yes, I love how coordinated they are, and I love how each member of the team knows that they're a part of the team and they're working for the betterment of the team. So, it's not about me, 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 me. It's about us, 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 us. And so that's the fifth collaboration, that's the fifth conflict resolution styles. So I had a video that I wanted to show, which basically summed up in a very cute way the conflict resolution styles. But seeing that you are not seeing my screen, I will share and hope that you'll be able to hear my audio. Is that okay?
Yeah, let's see if it works with the audio.
Okay.
Hi. What do you do when you're feeling angry or upset with another person?
Were you able to hear that?
Yes, we can hear.
Okay, awesome.
Do you go quiet and try to avoid an argument? Do you huff, puff, slam doors, shout or insult others? Do you apologise to make peace even if you're not in the wrong? Or do you speak calmly and try to find a compromise? Everyone is different, and what we usually do may not always work. So one thing that can be really helpful with managing our relationships with friends and family is to work out what our conflict style is. I like to remember the different conflict styles as animals. So let's have a look and see which style we can relate to. Here's the accommodating bear. This is cooperating to a high degree, sometimes at the expense of your own goals and objectives. The accommodating bear might say, I don't care that much, have it your way, or I give in. This conflict style can be effective when the other party is the expert or has a better solution, or if you really want to maintain a future relationship. However, if this happens too often, you may find yourself feeling resentful that you are unable to give your opinion or be heard. The avoiding turtle. This is when you simply avoid the issue. The avoiding turtle may say, "I'd just rather not deal with this right now." Avoiding would be positive for dangerous situations. It allows you to step back and cool down, and not so positive if you don't give your opinion or speak up when it's something that really matters to you. Avoiding is not a good long-term strategy. You aren't helping the other party reach their goals, and you aren't assertively pursuing your own. Next, the collaborating owl. This is where you pair up with the other party to achieve both of your goals, breaking free of the win-lose idea and seeking the win-win. The collaborating owl may say, "Two heads are better than one." This can mean reframing the challenge and creating a space for everybody's ideas. The downside is that it requires a high degree of trust, time, and effort from everyone involved to ensure that everyone is happy enough. Here's the competing shark. This is the win-lose approach. The competing shark may say, "I take charge," and act in a very assertive way to achieve your goals. This approach may be helpful when you need quick, decisive action, but can be unhelpful in other situations as sharks aren't too fussed about relationships. So being a shark too often may lead to losing friends. Lastly is the compromising fox. This is the lose-lose scenario where neither party really achieves what they want. The competing fox may say, "Let's meet halfway," or "Let's split the difference." This may be appropriate for scenarios where you need a temporary solution or where both sides have equally important goals. A negative is that it can be time-consuming if both parties do not want to give something up. So, which conflict style do you most relate to? Do you recognise yourself in any of them? What about your friends and family? What are their go-to conflict styles? It's really important to remember that no one style is necessarily better than the other. As we saw, there's pros and cons to each one. No one style is fixed either. So next time you're in a conflict, how about practicing different approaches to see if you can get a better outcome?
All right. So that, my dear, is the end of my presentation, and I'm open to all the questions that we have been able. I'm sure some people must be itching, still reeling from what this conflict resolution thing is. But what we have to keep in mind is that conflict resolution needs to happen if we're not going to all be like the purge and go kill off everybody. We need to be able to resolve conflict in a way that both persons feel like they are not being hurt. They're not giving away too much of themselves for this conflict to be resolved.
All right, thank you so much, Lady Cristal. I haven't seen any questions come up in the comment box as yet. But when you mentioned the whole matter of basically the conflict resolution styles, you sort of learned them in childhood. And as you were going through the different styles, I reflected, I think, I'm pretty much like my mom. Now that I've got older, before I was younger, I was straight up competing, aggressive all the way. But as I get older, I'm more like my mom. But the problem was, for her, my father was quite verbally abusive and threatening violence. So she would always be avoiding in the face of his rage, which we understand that, she just wants to not let things escalate. But
Right.
then she would switch to the accommodation for the long term. So, of course, she's losing, and he's going ahead, going ahead, going ahead. He has partner everything. And it continued for a whole 16 years. Yeah, it was not good for her, at least.
Right.
I'm sure it was great for him until she decided, yo, we'll go back to the Lord and we can do better by ourselves. And yeah, the accommodating, I find myself switching to that. But for me, the avoiding is like what the movie? The Runaway Bride, where Julia Roberts kept running away from the altar. So I am pretty much like that. If we ask somebody I'm like, no, we just be like, no, we not do that. And then as I was sitting here, I'm like, hey, Holy Spirit. So that's true. You can't always avoid, or in my case, run away from
Right.
things. You have to deal with it. And I see it as sort of like from the competing, the avoiding, the accommodation, the compromising, the collaborative. It's like climbing up a set of stairs to a better way of considering other persons and
Yes.
resolving conflict in a more useful manner. So I'm going to go to the comments. So now we have our formal Q&A session. And please type the word question before writing your question in the chat. Would like that very much. And yes, so we're in the Q&A now.
So I just
So,
wanted to add before we get a personal experience of mine. So when I was growing up, I think this is why I normally lean to the collaboration style because my
mhm.
mother, we were always allowed to choose what we wanted to eat. So she would say, "These are the options: one, two, three, four. Only one."
Oh, really?
Yes,
Okay.
who do want to eat? And then we would choose, and whatever choice we made, we had to eat it because that's what we said we wanted to eat. And so I realized that even now, when I have conflict, I'm always looking for an opportunity to collaborate to say, all right, so this is not what we want. So how can we get what we want? Um, and so I normally lean into that. Even in my professional relationships, I'm always open to, all right, so yeah, we not get what we want. So how can we get what we want? Um, I
In
am
some ways.
right, right. And I think in our society we're taught the competing style because everybody go to primary school sports day. Some sport day happen from basic school. So somebody has to win. Who come first, who come second, who come third. And woe be unto you if you come last. You know, you get
Sure.
charging from now till tomorrow. So there is a certain level of lauding of the competing style that we have ingrained in us from childhood. And so as we navigate through life and through our different situations, we have to be able to develop enough emotional intelligence to be able to know when to switch between the style that we need to use. And so I would say to anyone out there, pay attention to your situation, use emotional intelligence, and that will allow you to decide what conflict resolution style you choose. Because if I see somebody coming at me with a stone or a machete, I'm gonna avoid the confrontation. I'm not gonna argue with you because you can potentially hurt me.
True.
But I'm going to come back to it and say, but the other day though, I understand you did attend things, but you could have seriously hurt me. So let us deal with what the issue is and not attack each other. And so we have to be willing to adapt based on what the situation requires. So ready for the questions.
Okay, so I'm not seeing any questions coming up in the chat. Guess I say that they understand everything.
I guess. or maybe they just like to hear me talk.
But they're not talking, they just don't type. That's all. Okay.
But I was thinking while I was preparing this, what would happen when a person with a competing style meets somebody with a avoiding or accommodation style, as you were sharing the story about your
Isn't
mom.
that narcissism anyway? Every narcissistic relationship are their prayer.
Mm-hmm.
Not even
Mm-hmm.
relationship, are really predator and prey. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's what would happen.
Basically, basically, one party would constantly get their way while the other party would just have
Yeah,
to,
you just keep losing.
live under the mercy of the other one. And that's not how we want to live. And, I love how God does his thing,
We have
because
one question from Lady Sanya, very informative, but how you deal with someone who never admits to doing something wrong? That not straight narc, man.
all right, so how do we deal with people who never admit to wrong? Hmm. All right, so there are two things we have to look at it two ways. One, the person's entire self concept is based on them being right. And what I find with a lot of people who cannot admit wrong, they believe that if they admit wrong, it means that they're bad persons. And their entire concept of self would be dissolved if they ever admit wrong. That person, in essence, is insecure. They're insecure about themselves, they're insecure about their sense of self and their abilities. And so you can either feel pity for that person, but in most cases, um, you're not going to want to feel pity for them because the fact that they cannot take any accountability for their action is going to irritate or aggravate you. So
Mhm.
there is a psychological term called gray rocking that I learned from
Dr. Romani.
Romani, right? And
Yeah,
to gray rock someone means to accept that, yes, I understand your point of view. It's not that I don't understand your point of view. And just leave it there, because it's not going to be fruitful to continue the conversation otherwise. So if the person can't accept wrong, you already know that the person is wrong, so you just have to soothe yourself and move on. It means then that you have greater emotional intelligence than the person who is unable to accept wrong. And
okay.
yes, we have to deal with these people in every area of our lives, in professional life, in relationships, so church life, everywhere.
Definitely church life. Um, I don't remember which pastor. I think it's Pastor Kingsley Okonkwo, and I follow also his wife Mildred Okonkwo. They're Nigerians, and Pastor Kingsley said every the church is a hospital, and not every patient is responding well to treatment.
Very
That
true.
is true.
Very,
So you're definitely gonna have them. Definitely
that is
in
very true.
church. When Lady Sadia's question came up, sorry, I cut you off. No, that made think back. Sorry about that. I think I was just so focused trying to get the phone thing to work. Sorry about that. So let me just see. Let's see any more. All right. Let's see any more questions. Okay. All right, so I think we've come to the end. Thank you so much, Lady Cristal. I know you lead a very busy life. You're a wife, you're a mother, you're going back to school, and thank you so much because you just gave me a paper, a major paper yesterday. I still agreed to be on here today, even prepare the presentation, but I don't have the laptop, so I don't have the usual functionality to be doing everything fully. But I thank
Right.
you so much for the sacrifice that you have made I pray that the Lord will continue to bless and keep you and your family and prosper you in your different pursuits. And for those of you who may be wondering, in the background, you have her children's handiwork. They're artists as well as their mom, who is into the visual arts. So those are their prints. You call them prints? Prints
Yes,
that they
these
put up.
are woodcut
Block
prints that
prints.
we did this morning. So
Wow,
I
this is
am presently learning printmaking, and so they saw me do some prints. So if you look above, you see that turtle
yeah,
over.
those are pretty. We can see the turtle.
Yes, that one is mine. And so they wanted to create prints as well. So this is my
I
son.
think that's the Simba
Yes, this is Simba, and this is my
and
daughter,
Dumbo.
the elephant, right?
Oh, I look like said Pink Panthers or Panther. Something is there.
And these are their paintings. So they're also painting,
Finger painting.
right? Well, they're actually using painting brushes. Paintbrush.
Okay.
Yes, yes, very sophisticated. Um,
Yes. So I thank your children and your husband as well for sparing the time for mommy to be here on the weekend to be doing a presentation. I pray that God will just bless all of you and just promote you in everything that you do. I'd also like to thank my lovely audience for staying with us thus far. For those of you watching the replay, thank you so much for watching through to the end. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe to this YouTube channel, Sophia for Christ. Make sure that you're following us on Facebook and on Instagram, Sophia for Christ. And as a parting shot, I'm going to have Lady Cristal just share what's coming up on her platform, I Am Her Collective, and how you can follow her, which her contacts are in the description box below. But I want her to share.
all right. So I want to thank you again for this amazing opportunity to share. I love to chat. I love an opportunity to share with others. As an educator, that is one of the things that brought me to education. And I continue to educate on my page, the I Am Her Collective on Instagram, and we're on Facebook as well. We have coming up a number of lives that I'll be doing where I'll be talking about different things that I'm learning from reading Dr. Romney's book. Should I stay or should I go? Surviving a relationship with a narcissistic partner. That book has been so enlightening, and as soon as I learn the things, I share in the things. And so yesterday I did a live where I talked about the narcissism checklist. So if you want to know if there is a narcissist in your life, go and check out that video. I read through the 30 questions that she gives, and she says that if you can answer yes for 15 or more of these questions, it means that you probably have a pathological narcissistic person in your life. And if you can answer yes for more than 20, it means definitely you have a pathological narcissistic person in your life. So again, I can be found on Instagram at the I Am Her Collective. And I can also be found on Facebook at I Am Her Collective. Thank you again, Lady Sophia, for the opportunity. And your audience, always a pleasure to be here with them. And God bless you. Thank you again.
Thank you so much, Lady Crystal. So if there's a business or initiative that you'd like to share, or if you publish a book and anything like that, if you'd like to share, and your kingdom, yes, because this is a Christian oriented platform. We have specified that. So if there's anything kingdom oriented that you'd like to share, business or initiative, please be sure to send me a message at mail@sophiacturlong.com. We're going to have another conversation with Sophia for Christ next week, but working out those details. So stay tuned to Instagram, Facebook, well, not YouTube, because YouTube is more the videos. Instagram and Facebook, where I'll be sharing who our next guest will be. But we had an amazing session today, as we would all agree. It's amazing. So I'm just checking to make sure that I don't have anything left behind. So please be sure to like, share, follow, subscribe, all the things. not just for Sophia for Christ, but also for I Am Her Collective. Let's share the love, let's share the support, because at the end of the day, it's not about one person's brand or one person's platform growing. It's all about everyone's platform growing and everyone thriving. Because I think of the Lord led me to the revelation of his kingdom being like a garden. And in the garden, you have many different types of flowers,
Many
many different types of trees, shrubs, and they're all beautiful. They all come together to make for a beautiful garden. So shine, bloom, do your best in your special way. Don't feel away somebody else's shine and somebody else's elevation. It's not taking nothing from you. If anything, it's just bringing more glory to our Heavenly Father. So please be sure to like, share, support across the board. Because just as the Lord blessed them, He'll be sure to bless you too. When you get blessed, you want people to rejoice with you too, right? So make sure that you go ahead and share the love. I have her collective as well as Sophia for Christ. So until we meet again, may His blessings, peace, and wisdom be upon you all. Bye. Say bye. Oh, she mute out already.
Bye.
Bye, guys.